No matter what they do, this will benefit Trump. I'm going to start with that. If they declare him guilty, it helps Trump. If he wins, it helps Trump. That's how bad the situation is for the Democrats. And this is a rod of their own making. This is their own fault. This is what they did. They wanted to weaponize the legal system, and everybody out there sees it. And you have Hollywood actors coming out and saying, well, now I have to vote for Trump because you're weaponizing the legal system. I think it was Dennis Quaid that said that. What the jury could come back at any minute. Their verdict is imminent. I suspect we may hear from them today already. So if you haven't yet, make sure you leave a like on this video and you subscribe and you turn notifications on or follow to make sure, the second we get information, I will release a video. I won't wait for the actual schedule. I think, again, no matter what happens, I think Trump wins here. I talked to several lawyers last night on live stream. Nobody seems to think the guy's going to prison over this, even if they found him guilty, which even CNN and the rest of the mainstream media has admitted that the prosecution has not made that case. The prosecution has not made a strong case to convict Donald Trump in this hush money case, which is essentially a bookkeeping error or a bookkeeping crime, a white collar crime. He would not go to jail. And you already see some of the backlash. Representative Stefaniak goes after the judge in the case with a misconduct complaint over, quote, random assignment to hush money trial. The potential misconduct pertains to the repeated assignment of acting Justice Juan Merchan, a Democrat Party donor, to criminal cases related to President Donald Trump. So they're putting judges on the case that are obviously biased against Trump. This is not hard to see. You see Alvin Bragg. You see this with Fani Willis. You see this with Jack Smith. You see this with everybody that's, attached to these prosecutions of Trump are all TDS weirdo losers. You saw it with the other guy, the Jim Creep guy, the other judge, and Engoron or whatever, right? All weirdo creeps. Well, now it is in the jury's hands, and it's going to be interesting. Judge Trump's hush money NYC trial updates. Jury starts deliberating. Verdict could come at any time. I hope we get it today. I hope this gets resolved today. I think, honestly, I think it will. I think that they will reach their verdict quickly, and I'll tell you why. They already basically heard the whole case, everything that everyone had to offer, and then they delayed things because the prosecution's star witness turned into a complete disaster. But I'm guessing that most of that jury has made up their mind. If even CNN is saying, hey, there wasn't enough here to really convict the guy, I'm going to guess that, if CNN is coping, those jurors probably will. Now, there are two lawyers on the jury who many people say, oh, well, this is going, if they don't vote to convict Trump, it may hurt them long term. Who knows? Two jurors in the hush money trial against Donald Trump have begun deliberations in the historic criminal trial against former President Trump, meaning the verdict could come as soon as today. Manhattan Supreme Court Justice Juan Merchan gave the jury instructions Wednesday morning. The 7 men and 5 women on the panel are now weighing the case. Trump is charged with 34 counts of falsifying business records related to a $130,000 hush money payment, of course, which we now know there was no reasonable, they did not do a good job actually connecting to Donald Trump. And you see here some of the live updates. 7 minutes ago, Donald Trump leaves the courtroom, so he's kind of waiting around. So maybe he thinks there'll be a verdict pretty quickly. You see the jury begins deliberating just as of this recording, just 17 minutes ago. So call it 10:30 a.m. Central, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. I don't know how long they can stay in deliberation, if it's till 5 or 6 o'clock. I feel like I remember that with Rittenhouse. And what's interesting is just how corrupt this is. Judge Merchan told Trump and lawyers, you cannot leave the building. We need to be able to get here quickly if we do receive a note. So I wonder if that's normal, if that's a normal thing. And then you see this. Could verdict in Trump criminal trial upend the presidential election? I don't believe it will, because I don't believe that there's any precedent, as corrupt as these people are. There's no precedent to put Donald Trump in prison or in jail for this. House arrest, maybe. I don't know. At this point, as long as he's alive, he's going to have a very strong chance at beating Joe Biden in fall. You see Trump faces the possibility of being convicted on some or all of nearly 3 dozen state felony charges he faces in the trial in New York City, which is the first of the nation's history for a former current president. This is also the prospect of a hung jury or an acquittal. I happen to think it will be a hung jury, which means we probably won't hear that today. I don't suspect that. But anyway, the legal ramifications. Veteran pollster Chris Anderson, a member of New York Fox News election team and the Democratic partner on the Fox News poll, said that he didn't think a guilty verdict would fundamentally change the landscape of the race at all. Darren Shaw, a politics professor and chair at University of Texas, who also serves as a member of Fox News decision team and Republican partner of the Fox News poll, noted that prior to 2020, no one would have thought that a candidate could survive a criminal conviction, but times and circumstances have evolved. And while the specific findings of the jury could matter, I think there is a sense that a conviction in this case would not appreciably change the dynamics of the race. Both pointing to the fact that attitudes are so set and concrete regarding both the former Republican president and Democratic successor in the White House. Trump is charged with falsifying records, we already know. We know that Cohen, their star witness, is a liar and admitted to stealing money. All this stuff. Only 27% said that the former president has done nothing wrong. However, that number jumped to 54% among Trump supporters. Maybe he did do something wrong. I don't care. I don't think that they can I don't think they can legally attach it to him faithfully. I don't think, they had their chance to do that in court and they failed miserably. So, ultimately, I don't know. You see this by a 56-44 margin. CBS News poll indicated that a majority of Americans said Trump was definitely or probably guilty of a crime in the case. However, there is a vast partisan divide on the issue. Again, ask yourself this. If you're a Trump voter, right? If you are a Trump voter, are you changing your vote if he's found guilty of this? No, nobody is. Nobody's changing their vote if he's found guilty of this because nobody thinks it's actually true. And you can see everybody kind of weighing in. If Donald Trump is acquitted, does it change your vote? No. If he's found guilty, does it change your vote? No. If it's a hung jury, does it change your vote? No. If you're a Joe Biden voter, are you going to vote for Donald Trump suddenly because he's found not guilty? No. These are the practicalities of the case from, I guess, an everyman perspective. 42 minutes ago, Newsweek says Donald Trump acquittal now unlikely. Former prosecutor Tim Pool writing, after the judge said that they can all disagree on which crime Trump is committed, but also that he committed any crime is sufficient, then yes. I predicted this, but holy frick, I thought there would be a prosecutor, not the judge, saying to do this. So the judge basically gave them any reason at all to convict Trump. Hey, we don't know if you, as long as you think he's guilty of something, then you can convict him of this, which is absolutely bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. And you see here the comments. If you're celebrating this, understand that you have absolutely no morals. You have no care about any precedent or any rules. All you care about is getting your way. All that this is showing is how broken our justice system is, and not that Trump did anything that was materially worse than any other politician. Not a huge fan of Trump, but seeing these court proceedings proves that the courts are broken. What a joke of a judicial system. Do y'all really want to celebrate this if you're next? Where are all the lefties celebrating this? I guess here's one, and they got ruthlessly ratioed. Now, if all the lefties just left Twitter, I don't know. Everybody weighing in on this, I think at this point is difficult. I think is anybody's guess. I think a flat acquittal probably is unlikely, given just that they stacked so many charges on him that they're just throwing as much spaghetti against the wall as humanly possible and hoping just a single noodle sticks. And again, if he gets convicted on like a much lesser charge or one of the, it's not going to matter. He's going to get a fine and he's going to move on. They're not putting him in prison. I saw the headlines that say, "Oh, Secret Service is investigating with local jails. What happens if Trump gets arrested or put in jail?" He's not getting put in jail. If they put him in jail, the election in November would be perhaps the biggest landslide in my lifetime. Almost certainly. dude would pick up immense support. I mean, this is New York City. They don't even put people in jail who push people in front of subways. Okay? They don't put those people in jail. They don't put people in jail who, throw like fireballs at people or whatever, or do all sorts of heinous. So they can't put Trump in jail for this. He's not a flight risk. He's running for president, for crying out loud. I mean, the entire thing would be insane if the Democrats and the corrupt justice system in New York are so bloodthirsty that they would actually put Trump in jail. This would be their biggest mistake in history. They have to know that. They have to know that, unless they have like literally so much TDS. You see, 1 minute ago, Trump told reporters that the charges were rigged against him and accused the judge of being conflicted, which I agree, while saying that Mother Teresa couldn't beat these charges. What's happening here is weaponization at a level that nobody's seen before ever, and it shouldn't be allowed to happen. Trump repeated accusations that the criminal charges were brought by the Biden administration to hit him as the president's main elect opponent. I 1,000% agree with that. Any idiot can see this unless you have TDS. And that's what, to circle back to my main point, this doesn't change anybody's vote. What happens if Trump is convicted in New York? No one can really say. What exactly would happen if the jury finds Trump guilty is difficult to predict. Trump is being tried in New York State Court, where judges have broad authority to determine when sentences are handed down after convictions and what exactly they will be, according to former Manhattan prosecutor Duncan Levin. This differs from federal court, where there's typically a waiting period between a conviction and a sentencing. It's much more informally done in state court. I've had cases where the jury comes back and says guilty, and the judge thanks the jury and excuses them, and then says, let's sentence the defendant right now, said Levin. Obviously, everything's a little different about this case. Each of the 34 falsification of business record charges that Trump is facing carries a sentence of up to 4 years in prison and a $5,000 fine. He's pled not guilty. So 34 times 5,000, call that, $170,000 in fines. Because he's Trump, they'll make it 1.7 million because it's about extorting him. He's not getting prison time. That would be the dumbest thing they could even imagine. On May 6th, he opined more broadly on additional people that would be burdened by jailing Trump. Merchant called incarceration truly a last resort for me, saying, I also worry about the people who would have to execute the sanction, for court officers, for the correction officers, for Secret Service detail. I mean, still that day, he cautioned Trump that jail is not out of the question. I want you to understand that I will, if necessary and appropriate. He's not going to put him in jail. They would lose immediately, and bad things would happen. What do you think? I'm going to be watching this closely today, as all of you are too. Let me know what you think the verdict will be. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll talk to you again real soon.